Greetings, Jeff Hawkins from the Charlotte Post. Welcome to the Panthers. Um, I was just wondering what type of relationship you had with Thielen over the years, and how do you feel about helping Thielen mentor the young receivers like T-Mac and Leggett and Coker?
Yeah, so I met Adam. Obviously, I've been a big fan of his for a number of years. Kind of how he came to the NFL, and I don't think he was drafted, and how he progressed. I was a big fan of him in college because I was a walk on, and you know, um, kind of how I progressed. I felt like we had similar careers. I was in college, and he was in the NFL, but he had all those 100-yard, games to start his career or to start, first few years in the NFL. And, I was like, if I could just be like that guy, he reminds me of a guy at Clemson named Adam Humphreys that I came in, and he was a senior and I was a freshman. And I was like, if I can just be like that guy, then my life would be and my career would be made. But I met him at the golf course, actually at Quail Hollow at a pro-am last year um, for the golf tournament. And I remember telling him if I could ever get back to Carolina, that'd be a dream for me. And so that was my first interaction. And since, I've really gotten to know him this week, he's been unbelievable. I mean, y'all know him a lot better than I do because y'all been around him more, but just a good leader, a good communicator, just a good mentor for a lot of the younger guys, a good mentor for me, but really a lot of the younger guys in the room that can look at him as that kind of older brother figure to be able to rely on, because Adam's done it. Adam's done it well, done it at a high level, and he understands what it takes to accomplish what they want to eventually accomplish.
And if I can just add, over the past year, you took a year off. What did you gain from that year off? Did you need it? And are you refreshed now?
Yeah, so it was awesome. I think you can do a lot of things in life, and I think it's good to reset sometimes and good to kind of get healthy. And it was awesome for me. I got to spend a lot of time with my two daughters, and spent a lot of time with my wife, family. Got to kind of get a better understanding of what I want to do after football. So that was exciting for me. But because I got all that in order now, I feel like I'm at peace and I can go do the football thing and enjoy what I love to do. And so I learned a lot. I got to work with an incredible group of guys, and it was a really peaceful and kind of revamping time for me.
What do you want to do after football?
Yeah, yeah. So um, that is, I think it's gonna change, as I go through these different phases in life. But I bought into a company called ESS Industrial, and we do a lot in the manufacturing space. And so I was the head of the business development department, and so we were trying to just get in business and just trying to help the company grow as much as we could. It was cool because it was a part of a team, right? And I was a part of a brotherhood, even though it was not a locker room. You still get guys working to a common goal. You still get the competitive juices going, and so that's what I enjoy. And so I was able to do that last year, and now I'm able to do it back in the locker room this year, and I'm just really excited about it.
Hey, thanks a lot and good luck this year.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, we will move over to David, followed by Cassidy and Mike.
Hey, Hunter David Newton with ESPN.com. Wanted to follow up on not playing last year. How much did that have to do with your diagnosis? And tell us a little bit about that and what that was like dealing with it.
Yeah, so it was. I mean, I had never really been sick or really hurt much in my career. Coming out of Clemson, I obviously went with the Raiders. Was able to sign a second contract with them, but pretty much I started feeling a little weird at the end of that 2021 season, and just started feeling nothing crazy. I think we made the playoffs last year. We lost to Cincinnati, and then, but I remember going and being at the Pro Bowl and just starting to feel like I took a month off, but I'm like kind of tired. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought I just wasn't working out as much. And then we went through that summer. I signed a second contract, and Coach McDaniels and those guys came in. And in that fall camp, I just felt as bad as I could. And so really over the last 2 years of my, Raider career, I was just trying to piece it together, just trying to make it and just trying to do as much as I could. But also, I just wasn't feeling great. Uh, I didn't know a lot about ulcerative colitis. I was just trying to push through it and just try to be my best, even though my best wasn't good enough at the time. And so took off, got released by the Raiders. Then last year, kind of the timeline of that was about March, April of last year. I started feeling really bad. I dropped down like 150 pounds, had to go to the ER some, just because there's so much inflammation in my body. And I started getting on this infusion called Entyvio, where I took it like once every 2 months. And I started feeling a lot better by like July, August. And so, I went from 150, and then by September, October, I went up to 200 pounds because I hadn't been able to eat for 3 years. And now I was eating everything I could find because I could. And so I went from like 150 to 200. And I actually thought about joining a team late last year. But just with that big of, 50-pound weight kind of delta, and I wanted to start fresh with a team, start in OTAs. I didn't want to just join a team late and maybe make a playoff run or anything like that. So, I said, all right, in my mind, we'll start fresh the next year. And so I started working out back in January, end of January, and went to Clemson a couple days a week. And, coach over there named Dennis Love helped me tremendously and getting back in better shape. And so, did that. And then now I'm here, and Coach Canales and Dan Morgan gave me an opportunity, so I'm excited about it, and I'm excited about playing football again.
And you didn't deal with a concussion in 22, but I think you went on injury reserve. Was any of that connected? The length you were on injury reserve connected to?
No, so I got a concussion, but I didn't go. I went on injury reserve because of strained oblique.
Okay.
And I did that in the Jacksonville game, and for me it was weird because like I had never been injured much, and I think I just had so much inflammation in my body. My body was just fighting all the time, and you know, it just it's never good whenever your body's fighting, and I think that maybe caused some of the oblique strain and stuff like that.
Right. And did you feel like football was done for you at that point, or?
Yeah, so I was like, man, I don't ever want to. I felt so bad those 2 years, and I felt like I let my teammates down so much because I had, expectations. I just signed a new contract. I had a new coaching staff that I was going to be perfect for because they had Edelman, they had Amendola, they had all these guys, and I was just a dud. And I was like, man, I know I don't feel well, but I do not want to play football again. Like, I do not want to let people down. I want to just go over here in my corner and do what I do, get into business. And so, um, I was doing that for a little bit. And so I really, when I started feeling a lot better was the first time I was like, well, maybe I can do this again. I went to a couple of high school football games, and I was like, man, they're having fun. Like, that's what I used to do. I used to have fun playing this game. And so you have a lot of occurrences like that build up over time. And you're like, man, I kind of want to go out a different way if I'm gonna go out. Right. And so that's kind of how it's built up between when I got released to this past January.
I appreciate you sharing all that, and
Yeah.
glad to see you back and doing well.
Appreciate it.
Hey Hunter, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. You mentioned that you told Adam, like, if you could get back to Carolina, that would be a dream. Were you watching much Panthers football last year? And if so, what was kind of your takeaway of this offense, especially the second half of the season?
I did not watch a ton. I'm a college football guy. Like, I love watching college football. And I didn't watch a ton of NFL football, but when I did, I'd watch the Raiders. I watched my good friend Derek at the Saints, and then I'd watch the Panthers some just because I watched them growing up, and I always, that was always my team. And so watching them the back half of the year, really whenever they beat the Raiders was the first time I really watched them. And it looked like they were having fun, and they looked like they were playing for a guy like Coach Canales, who I'd heard great things about, and they were wanting to win for him and play for him. And and just had a lot of fun playing. And so watching them progress towards the end of the year, uh, it reminded me of a little bit like, you know, Clemson back in the 2010, 2011 when Coach Sweeney was starting to get things going. You had some people buying in, believing, and I saw some kind of similarity between that and what Coach Canales was building. And so it was cool to watch, and it was a lot of momentum to be able to come in and step into, and just a lot of good energy in the building.
Awesome. Thank you. And
Yeah.
welcome back.
Thank you.
Hey Hunter, this is Mike K from the Charlotte Observer. Nice to meet you over the phone. You show a lot of self-awareness with how those last 2 years went in Las Vegas. Obviously, taking a year off, some folks are going to doubt your ability to get back to football. I guess football shape. How much do you have to do extra this summer to kind of keep like an even playing field for you, since you haven't had that contact in over a year and you are trying to win a roster spot at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I've never taken it around the football side. No, I know what I know is to control what I can control, and so if that's running a few extra sprints after practice, or if that's doing this or that, whenever the time comes, you know, that's what it takes, right? And I think for me, I've always gauged kind of my year off of two things. Am I being a great teammate, being number one? Like that's important to me. Does it matter that I'm a great teammate? And then number two, does it matter that I'm on the field, from a teammate's perspective? Like, am I helping us win? And if I can say yes to those two things, then I call it a success. And so, trying to get back to those two areas is something that I'm more focused on than to ever, go out there and do this or that. But so yeah, if you have any tips, let me know, because I've never taken a year off football.
I've taken way more than a year off of football, but got a little bit of like a teammate veteran sort of question for you. A bunch of guys are going to come in and go to rookie mini camp next week. I was just curious, what type of advice would you give to guys, whether they're draft picks or undrafted, coming into that first camp when you think back at your first camp?
Yeah, for sure. I would say just be where your feet are. Like, just try to be the best that day. There's so much you can't control, whether it's in life, or there's so much you can't control on a football field, or if they call your number, and they throw you the pass, they design a play for you. But you can control your effort and you can control your attitude. And if you can control those things, it doesn't matter. I mean, you'll be successful at whatever you do. It doesn't matter if you're playing football, if you want to be a coach, if you want to be a doctor. I mean, whatever it is, you're going to be successful at it, and people appreciate that. And so that would be my advice. And it just seems that the people who do that tend to find success at some point. And so, I don't know if that's the best advice, but that's be the advice I would give them.
Thanks, Hunter. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, and we will finish with Joe and Cam Gaskins.
Hey, Hunter, thanks for doing this. I'm with The Athletic here. Wanted to ask you, obviously a Carolinas guy, did you have pre-draft discussions with the Panthers when you were coming out? Did you talk to them at pro day, anything like that?
No, I didn't. But I didn't really talk to anybody. Really. I mean, I did a Senior Bowl and had, Gruden and the Raider staff were at the Senior Bowl, but I didn't take any visits or really do much besides the, normal draft and combine stuff.
Gotcha. And then you were with the Raiders when you were a teammate of Trayvon Moehrig, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, give us kind of the scouting report on him. I know he kind of made his name last year in the box, but he's also played some over the top safety too, I think. What your thoughts on him as a teammate and as a defensive back?
Yeah, he's one of the more steady people you'll be around. Like, coming in the building every day, he's the same person. And he he's just a consistent person and consistent player. Like he's not gonna do things that hurt you, you know. And if you have enough guys like that, then you'll win games. And he, you know, we overlapped, I think 2 or 3 years. I can't remember in what year he was drafted exactly, but I just remember him being just the most relaxed guy in the locker room. And then even on the field, like some guys are relaxed in the locker room and they're psychopaths on the field. And he's relaxed in the locker room and he's relaxed on the field, but he still makes unbelievable plays and he has a sense of urgency. And so it's a weird dynamic, but that just shows you the person he is, the player he is. And, you know, that kind of sticks out to me going against him all those years in practice.
Thanks. And the last thing from me, Hunter, how much did you get to watch of Bryce last year while you were out?
Not a ton. You know, I actually came to when the Saints played the Panthers. I came to that. Excuse me. I came to that game because Derek was playing and Carr with the Saints, and so I got to watch him a little bit there, and I watched him against the Raiders, but I hadn't watched him a ton. But you know, getting in here this week and watching him on film, he's very mobile. You know, he's a high IQ, and he makes plays, and he's a winner, and that's what you want to be around. That's what you want to build around.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Honor, this is Cam Gaskins with WBTV News. Appreciate you taking the time. You kind of touched on it earlier, just talking about, you know, the perspective you gained from the year away and things like that. But I wanted to just ask, I guess, more directly, what did you miss most about the game? And what is it that you're looking forward to most about this upcoming, you know, training camp, off season, and then going into the season? If it's, you know, putting helmet back on, the pads or whatever, what are you looking forward to most?
The two things that I missed the most, I wouldn't say look forward to, but I missed the most. Number one was how, like, it is a good accomplishment to do something hard and, you know, doing stuff you don't want to do. And I didn't say I enjoyed it, but I'm looking forward to getting back to like the grind mode of like, man, I really don't want to come out here, but I'm going to go and make it a great day. Or, you know, the mental hurdle you have to get through, number one. And then number two, I think football and sports in general just give you like an instant feedback. And so no matter if it was good or bad, it's instant. So like in business, you know, or, you know, with what you do, you might, you know, work on a piece or a story, or, you know, we might, you know, put together a business plan and we don't know if a year from now it's going to be a good decision. We don't know 6 months, 2 years. It just kind of draws out. And so in football, you instantly know, like, if it was good enough. You instantly know whether it's a practice or a game, if it worked or not. And so I missed that instant feedback. So yeah, I would say those two things.
Yeah, not to push back on that, but if you read my DMs after a bad story, you would know we get some pretty instant feedback sometimes in this business. That's all I got. Appreciate you taking the time. Looking forward to seeing you out there this season.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
All right, Hunter, thank you so much. Appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.